aspiring international students. Welcome to today's ED Talk on PGWP eligibility in Canada and a quick year-end roundup. The last one in 2025, so do listen in till the end. If you're planning to study and work in Canada after graduation, you need to be cautious at all stages before and when applying for a post-graduation work permit, which is PGWP. Before you leave your home country for the January intake, or if you're already in Canada, you sure need to be listening in. Small errors or overlooked details, even while choosing your program now or dropping a course in any semester later, could lead to a refusal of your PGWP. And the worst part is that you won't realize this till you actually apply for a PGWP after finishing your study. And sadly, that comes as a huge shocker. Recently, policy changes by IRCC have also tightened eligibility rules, making advanced planning more important than ever. Let's start with some recent updates for you. From March 11, 2025, students graduating from non-university degree granting programs now follow the same language and field of study rules as university graduates for PGWP. Also, to qualify for a PGWP, you must have had valid study authorization at some point within 180 days after finishing your studies. This also covers students who applied to extend their study permit and were allowed to study under maintained status when they completed their program. Clear, fair, and more aligned for everyone. The PGWP is an open work permit that allows graduates from eligible Canadian post-secondary institutions to work for almost any employer across Canada. Now, depending on the length of the study, it can be valid for up to 3 years. Many of the programs like diplomas and certificates have been tied to the outcomes in the labour market, which is a great step forward for you. Now, let's start with who qualifies for a PGWP or who can apply for a PGWP. A PGWP is a one-time opportunity. You must, 1. Graduate from a DLI, a designated learning institution with a PGWP eligible program. 2. Complete a program of at least 8 months or 900 hours of studying in Quebec. 3. Maintain full-time student status during the program. 4. Apply within 180 days of completing your studies. And 5. Hold a valid study permit during the application window. Now listen carefully to what factors could actually jeopardize a PGWP application. 1. Choosing a not eligible study program. All bachelor's and master's degrees from any DLI qualify for a PGWP. However, only certain diploma and certificate programs qualify for a PGWP. From 2024 onwards, non-degree programs must appear on IRCC's approved list of 1107 SIP codes. SIP stands for Classification of Instructional Programs. Students in diploma or certificate programs should confirm that their program's SIP code appears on the currently eligible list of SIP codes before applying. Also, those who switch programs midway or choose a second program for stacking must recheck eligibility based on the policy in place at that time. 2. Not maintaining full-time student status. To qualify for a PGWP, students must remain enrolled full-time throughout their studies in every semester. The only exception is for the final semester. Any part-time enrollment except in the last term can make an applicant ineligible for PGWP later. This is a very common mistake students make, so don't drop courses. Institutions define what counts as full-time, so students should verify this each term. For a long time, the final semester rule has caused serious stress for students. Yes, we knew you were allowed to be part-time in your last semester, but the real panic started when a student failed a course in that final term and had to come back for one more semester. Earlier, this often meant 2 part-time semesters in a row at the end of the program, and that was a common reason for PGWP refusals. But now, we have good news. As of December 11, 2025, IRCC has finally fixed this. The new rules clearly say that if you were part-time in your final semester, failed a course and had to retake it to graduate, both semesters can be treated as one final academic session. So what does this mean? A. It's a big safety net for you. Immigration officers are now officially told to treat the semester you failed the course and the semester you repeated it as part of the same final semester exception. So this protects your PGWP eligibility. B. Here's a super smart detail to remember. The policy talks specifically about failing a course. It does not clearly cover voluntarily dropping a course. So from a strict immigration point of view, finishing the course and getting an F may now be safer than dropping it mid-semester and becoming part-time, right? Now this is a huge win for students because one academic setback should never decide your entire future in Canada. 3. Working without authorization. Now, international students are allowed to work only within the conditions of their study permit. As of now, students can work up to 24 hours per week off campus while classes are in session. Unauthorized employment can result in loss of student status and denial of the PGWP. No point regretting later. 4. Completing studies outside Canada. The pandemic-era policy that allowed online study to count toward PGWP eligibility has ended. Students starting programs after September 1, 2024 must complete their studies in person in Canada to qualify. 5. Missing the language test requirement. Beginning November 1, 2024, applicants must prove English or French language proficiency when they apply for a PGWP. The minimum required levels are CLB 5 for graduates of diploma or certificate programs and CLB 7 for graduates of bachelor's, master's or doctoral programs. 6. Applying late. The PGWP application must be submitted within 180 days of receiving proof of program completion. Missing this deadline usually results in an automatic refusal. 7. Submitting an incomplete application. Now, applications must be filed online unless an exemption applies. And the required documents would be proof of program completion, that is degree, diploma or an official communication indicating program completion, evidence of full-time enrollment, language test results, confirmation of eligible field of study, the zip code verifies that, and medical exam results if applicable. Applicants must also ensure that all information matches across all documents before submission. So check, double check, triple check and then submit. And before you start the application process, please check that these two documents are in order. 1. Expired or soon to expire passport. Do note that the PGWP cannot extend beyond the validity of your passport. If the passport expires before the permit period, the duration of the PGWP issued will be shortened. So keep your passport renewed before applying to avoid the need for reapplication later, as a positive outcome of renewal may not be guaranteed later. 2. Failing to prove temporary resident intent in your covering letter. You must show intent to respect the terms of your permit and leave Canada when the status expires, even if you plan to apply for PR later. Now, demonstrating ties to home countries such as family, property or employment can strengthen your case. Yes, that information should go into a covering letter of explanation where you present your story. And the question that most students ask, can you be found inadmissible? And the answer is yes. Certain factors can make a person inadmissible to Canada, including medical or financial issues, criminal history, security concerns, or misrepresentation of facts. Having an inadmissible family member like a brother, sister, or cousin can also affect your eligibility. And consult a licensed immigration consultant. Anurag Sandhu, CEO at Canam, is an RCIC, a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. So please choose an eligible program, maintain full-time studies, follow work and language rules, and apply on time with complete documents. Okay? And here's a quick recap on some of the other important IRCC study permit updates in the past 18 months. 1. A 2026 international student cap of 1,55,000 that excludes masters and PhDs. 2. A new requirement for a provincial attestation letter, PAL, with most applications, but masters and PhDs do not require these PALs. 3. Changes to post-graduation work permit, PGWP eligibility through zip codes for diplomas and certificates, and we can expect a new zip code list in early 2026. 4. Increased living cost funds. 5. A new officer decision note, ODN, to provide immediate reasons for visa application refusal. And 6. A prohibition on changing schools on the same study permit to requiring a new one. We've been posting these and all other updates regularly for you. And I do hope you watched my EdTalk on judicial reviews. Don't miss it. So hit the subscribe button, follow us on all our socials, and stay updated on the study abroad scene. And see you soon.